So as time continues to pass, I continue to come back to this guy, this one little device here. This is the Nothing Phone 3A. And the reason I keep coming back to it is, well, A, it's just kind of my secondary device at this point, but B, the camera continues to intrigue me. I pick it up, I play around with it, and the more I take photos with this device, the more I look at them and I think, these look really good. Now, I've got a whole video on this device. I've actually got a couple, just a general overview, and then I actually do a fairly deep dive into the camera system of this phone. So if you want to take a look at it, feel free to check that out after you watch this video, of course. In this video, I specifically want to talk about the macro capabilities of the Nothing Phone 3A. And now, some of you might be familiar, like, wait, this phone doesn't have any macro capabilities. It doesn't have a macro lens. And while you are correct, it does have kind of like a macro setting, if you will. So the main camera, the main sensor on this phone is a 50 megapixel sensor. And when you put it into that 50 megapixel mode, which can be done from the menu system right here, but you see off to the side here, if I can do this right, you can toggle it from 12 megapixel to 50 megapixel. And in that 50 megapixel mode on the 1X, which is going to be the 24 millimeter equivalent, you actually get a fairly close focus distance, not super macro by any means, but it's enough to where the detail from the 50 megapixel shot that you get, you can kind of crop in additionally and make it more like macro, if you will. But I was playing around with this and I kept noticing, I was like, wow, these shots actually look fairly good. And you'll notice, like I said, it's not anything super close by any means, but these shots end up coming out extremely sharp. Like this one of my Fuji XM5, just the dial, all the details, specifically the post-processing that Nothing does with their photos. In some instances, it can be a little overkill, but in most instances, especially after these most recent software updates, I've noticed that it does a really good job. Even in comparison to my Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, this is my main device right now, to where sometimes the post-processing or the computational part of the computational photography can get a little overbearing. It can get a little too much, especially on the zoom lenses. It kind of tries to create, an image based off of what it thinks is there, to where with the Nothing, and granted, I'm talking about macro, so not zoom, but on Nothing, the post-processing that it does is nowhere near, I think, as bad. It's a really good, like, middle ground almost, and that's kind of where I prefer phones to be. The more I've been using my S25 Ultra, that's kind of almost been like a drawback to me. Yes, it ends up getting a pretty clean looking image and detailed images, but a lot of this computational photography steals a little bit of the essence, if that makes any sense, of the photo. So the thing that I've been noticing with Nothing specifically is that it does it in a tasteful manner that doesn't necessarily completely recreate your image or create fake things. The one thing I noticed that Nothing does a lot, specifically the 3A, is it will kind of over sharpen a little bit. That's where it likes to go a little bit crazy. But other than that, it doesn't generate or create things in the images. It delivers nice, crisp details and ultimately images that I'm pretty happy with. Specifically on the 3A, you can get some really wild flares. That's just a note that I want to make. It can be done in a tasteful manner. Most of the times you're looking for lenses that don't really flare a lot, but some optics just flare a lot. And when they do that, I think if you can find places or find ways to creatively use that to your advantage, I'm not one to shy away from a lens if it flares really bad. I think there's plenty of things you can do with it. But that's another note that I want to point out and throw out there, is that the 3A does flare quite a bit. But if we take a look at this shot of my Pete's Pirate Life journal, if you look at the details of the actual like binding of the front here, you can see each individual almost like weave and thread. So these 50 megapixel shots are packing a punch and does let you crop in quite a bit. Now, when I say it does a good job with its post-processing, that doesn't mean that it doesn't do any. It balances its photos quite well. Now, the biggest complaint that I had with the 3A camera system was the color shift between each lens. But if you stick with your primary lens, like the telephoto lens on this is just okay, that's what it is. It does a pretty good job, and it's nice to have on a camera of this price. Remember, you're getting this phone for as low as $370, which is crazy. But the main camera on this phone does a really good job. And like I said, I keep coming back with it. I keep playing with it. It does a really good job of just creating a really solid image for you to use. I don't think this is a phone or a camera system that is for your purists out there or strictly for photographers, because if you're wanting an image that is like super true to life, this does do a decent amount of post-processing. Like I said, it doesn't completely alter your image, but it does a lot of the editing for you. So it's going to add sharpness, it's going to add a little bit of color, it's going to adjust your shadows and things. But what I'm trying to get at is that it does it in a way that I think produces one of the most usable, like straight from phone images that I've ever seen. Like, I don't know, it might just be me. Like, I might just be a little bit overly attached to this, or I might be seeing something completely different. But I feel like the main camera on this phone didn't really get talked about enough, or like much at all. And it's astonishing to me because it is really a very capable camera, and I think it's one that I kind of want to play around with a little bit more, or at least, tell people it's out there. Like I said, for photographers who are purists, it may be not the most favorite thing in the world, but if I was like in the market for a simple point and shoot camera, I would 100% buy this before I bought anything in that same price range, because I think that's the level of images you're getting out of this. And honestly, just the phone aspects of this device as well are fun. The design, the screen honestly is really great. The haptics, the design of the UI and the OS. I mean, look at that. This is honestly one of the cleaner UIs that I've seen and OSs that I've used. So I mean, it's a great little device. Like I said, I've made a couple videos on this already, so I don't want to get into it a whole bunch, but I wanted to make this video and highlight just kind of the level of detail that you can achieve out of the main camera with this phone. And like I said, kind of unlocking that macro level quality without actually having like a macro lens. So if you have this phone, play around with that 50 megapixel mode. I think it does a great job at capturing details and capturing just usable images. But also if you're in the market for just a lower end device, but still want a good camera, I would 100% and highly recommend looking into the Nothing Phone 3A. I keep thinking that I'm done with this device, but I keep picking it up and playing with it, even over just the regular Nothing Phone 3. This device, specifically the 3A, keeps reeling me back in for some reason. That's all I got for this video, guys. This is a quick little video and just more of a thought that I wanted to put out there. But if there is anything specific you guys would like to see about the 3A, let me know down in the comments below. Like I said, I'll probably be making a few more videos just exploring a few other things with this device, potentially maybe comparing it to a specific iPhone 17 Pro, maybe in the future. We'll see. But until then, thanks so much for watching this video, guys. But as always, that is enough watching, enough consuming content. You know the drill. Get out there and create something yourself. I will see you all in the next video.